Very interesting point about Mikra Megillah. The Chazal say Megillah Daf Gimel. Chazal say that mevatlin Talmud Torah l'kriyas HaMegillah. That one is mevatel Talmud Torah in order to hear the Megillah. So the Rishonim asked, why is that bittul Torah to hear the Megillah? Mevatlin Talmud Torah, stop learning Torah and hear the Megillah. But if I'm hearing the Megillah, that's Torah. It's part of Tanakh, isn't a part of Torah. So two important answers on this, which I think have a very important nafkamina, many nafkaminas, but one in particular. First of all, the Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish says that in your mind, two similar things. The Chazon Ish says that in one's mind, one cannot be yotzei two things at once, which is a bit of a chiddush to me. It seems to me that there are other cases we are yotzei a couple of things at once. But that's what he says. If you're going to be yotzei the mitzvah Talmud Torah, you're not going to be yotzei the mitzvah Mikra Megillah. If you're going to be yotzei Mikra Megillah, you're not going to be yotzei Talmud Torah. So says the Chazon Ish, is Lashon Mikra Megillah ein yotzei by Talmud Torah di'i efshar l'chavein lotzeis yedei shneim. You can't have full kavanah to be yotzei both. It could be that some mitzvahs, I'm just adding my little explanation, some mitzvahs require this sort of passive involvement with it, but it could be, like we learned yesterday, Mikra Megillah requires a very what's the word I'm looking for? A very deliberate act of listening, intentional act of listening. So if you're doing an intentional act of listening, then you can't be doing an intentional act of hearing the Kriyas HaMegillah. The Brisker Rav of Talmud Torah. The Brisker Rav says almost the same thing, but he says it a little bit differently. He says that if you're doing Talmud Torah, you're not doing Persumei Nisa. And if you're doing Persumei Nisa, you're not doing Talmud Torah. This, just to my small mind, this makes sense, because if let's say you'll go into a Beis Medrash and you'll see somebody learning Be'iyun from the Mikrois Gedolos or the Gra, they're learning Mikra Megillah. That's not Persumei Nisa. The very fact that they're learning this Talmud Chacham, they're always learning. They're always sitting and learning. So the Persumei Nisa is, let's imagine the Brisker Rav was sitting here. The Persumei Nisa is that he closes his Gemara and he's listening to Mikra Megillah. So therefore, it feels to me it's almost like the Chazon Ish, but it's a little bit different. That Persumei Nisa perforce is not Talmud Torah, and if you're doing Talmud Torah, there's no Persumei Nisa involved. It comes out, seems like a very important halacha, however you want to understand it. It comes out the following, that when we're listening to the Megillah, both Kriyas HaMegillah, and we have to be yotzei to do mikram, to hear the Megillah, and to do Persumei Nisa, and all the things that we're doing, you shouldn't be learning. So I know myself, there's like this yotzei hara to, that's interesting, what does Rashi say? Maybe people come with very fancy Megillahs, because you have a lot of different farshim, and you could hear the Megillah with more kavanah. But that's not more kavanah, it's less kavanah. The kavanah has to be to not look at anything. Probably the right way to do it is to come with like a Manischewitz, Megillah or something. There's a straight Megillah, and I wonder even if the English is a good idea to have the English translation, because again, you're learning. Like the whole idea is Persumei Nisa. I'm here to celebrate and to propagate the miracle of Purim. And I'm doing so by listening to the Megillah and absorbing the Megillah, and nothing else. As soon as you're doing something else, so therefore you're not doing the mitzvah. So therefore, Chazal say very succinctly, "Mevatlin Talmud Torah leMikra Megillah." Very clear Chazal. Mevatlin Talmud Torah, that stop learning and do Mikra Megillah because you want to do this right.